Good morning, everyone. I'm delighted to welcome you today. We will be exploring the regulatory framework for pharmaceutical supply chain management. On this first slide, you see the title, Dr. S.K. Singh, Ph.D. And the main topic, Regulatory Framework for Pharmaceutical Supply Chain Management. Throughout this presentation, I will guide you through the key regulations, challenges, and best practices in this vital area. Let's get started. Let's take a closer look at the overview of the pharmaceutical supply chain. The pharmaceutical supply chain encompasses all the processes involved in bringing medicinal products from the manufacturer to the end user. This includes manufacturing, storage, transportation, distribution, and retail supply. Essentially, every step needed to get a medicine safely and effectively to patients. Our main objectives in this chain are crucial. First, ensuring product quality and safety to protect patients. Second, preventing counterfeit medicines, which is a growing concern worldwide. Third, maintaining traceability so we can track each product's journey. And finally, ensuring regulatory compliance to meet legal standards and protect public health. Now, let's talk about the key stakeholders involved. We have the manufacturer, who produces the medicines, quality assurance teams, who oversee safety and standards, logistics providers, responsible for transportation and storage, distributors and wholesalers, who distribute medicines to various outlets, retail pharmacies, where patients actually access the medicines, and regulatory authorities, who set and enforce the rules to keep the entire system secure and trustworthy. All these elements work together, forming a complex but vital network that underpins the integrity of the pharmaceutical industry. This overview sets the stage for understanding how each part contributes to a safe, reliable, and efficient supply chain. Let's take a closer look at the regulatory framework and authorities that govern the pharmaceutical industry worldwide. First, we have some key global regulatory bodies that set standards and oversee compliance across different regions. The World Health Organization, or WHO, plays a vital role in establishing international guidelines and promoting public health. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration, or FDA, is responsible for regulating drugs and medical devices in the United States. The European Medicines Agency, or EMA, oversees medicinal products within the European Union. And in India, the Central Drug Standard Control Organization, or CDSCO, manages drug regulation and safety. Moving on to some of the key regulations and guidelines, these are essential to ensure quality, safety, and traceability in drug distribution. The WHO Good Distribution Practices, or GDP, provides a framework for maintaining the integrity of medicines throughout the supply chain. In the United States, we have Title 21 CFR Parts 210 and 211, which cover Current Good Manufacturing Practices, or CGMP, ensuring products are consistently produced and controlled according to quality standards. The EU GDP guidelines from 2013 further specify the standards for distribution within Europe. Lastly, the Drug Supply Chain Security Act, or DSCSA, is a significant regulation in the U.S. aimed at increasing transparency and security in the pharmaceutical supply chain. All these bodies and regulations are interconnected, forming a comprehensive framework that supports safe and effective medicine distribution globally. Understanding this framework is crucial as we move forward in ensuring compliance and maintaining trust in our supply chains. Let's take a closer look at the key regulatory controls that ensure the quality and safety of our pharmaceutical products. First, we have the Batch Manufacturing Records, or BMR, which are detailed documentation of every step in the manufacturing process. Alongside that, we have the Batch Packaging Records, or BPR, which record all activities related to packaging to ensure traceability and compliance. Quality control testing is another critical element. It verifies that each batch meets predefined quality standards before it moves forward. Importantly, no batch can be released for distribution without authorization from a qualified person, or QP. This person reviews all records and testing results to confirm compliance with regulatory requirements. Stability studies are conducted to determine how long a product remains effective and safe under specified storage conditions. Deviation and CAPA management help us identify, investigate, and correct any issues that arise during manufacturing, preventing recurrence and safeguarding quality. All these controls are rooted in good manufacturing practices, or GMP, which set the standards for manufacturing quality. Depending on where we operate, we adhere to applicable standards like WHO GMP, US FDA CGMP under 21 CFR 210-211, and EU GMP. A key regulatory requirement to remember is that no batch can enter the supply chain without QA release. This means that every product must undergo thorough review and approval by the QA team before it reaches the market. This process is fundamental to maintaining trust and ensuring patient safety across the board. Let's take a closer look at the key traceability elements that are essential in our process. First, we have the batch number, which uniquely identifies a specific production run. This helps us track the product's history and any potential issues back to their source. Next is the manufacturing date, indicating when the product was produced, and the expiry date, which tells us until when the product remains effective and safe to use. Both are crucial for quality control and ensuring consumer safety. Then, where applicable, we include the serialization code. This adds an extra layer of traceability, especially for products that require more detailed tracking. Additionally, batch release and documentation are vital for confirming that each batch has been reviewed, approved, and properly documented before reaching the market. Moving on to mandatory documentation, the Certificate of Analysis, or COA, confirms that the product meets all quality specifications. The Certificate of Conformance, or COC, assures that the product complies with regulatory standards. The manufacturing license verifies that the facility is authorized to produce the product, and the product registration certificate confirms that the product is registered with the relevant authorities. Finally, the shipping invoice and packing list provide a record of the shipment details, ensuring transparency and accountability throughout the distribution process. All these elements together form a comprehensive traceability system, which is fundamental for maintaining quality, safety, and regulatory compliance across the entire supply chain. Let's take a closer look at some of the key anti-counterfeiting measures that are crucial for ensuring product integrity. First, serialization with a 2D data matrix is a powerful tool. It allows us to assign a unique code to each package, making it much harder for counterfeiters to replicate or reuse. This tiny but mighty barcode can be scanned throughout the supply chain to verify authenticity. Next, tamper-evident packaging plays a vital role. The idea is to design packaging that clearly shows if it has been tampered with, giving both providers and patients peace of mind. Alongside this, barcoding standards like those outlined in DSCSA and EU FMD are essential. They provide a standardized way to track and trace products across borders and ensure compliance with regional regulations. Now, packaging and labeling compliance are equally important. Labels must contain specific information to meet regulatory expectations and facilitate proper handling. Speaking of which, regulatory requirements encompass several key data points. The product name, both generic and brand, helps identify the medication accurately. The strength and dosage form inform the correct administration. Batch numbers are critical for traceability, especially in case of recalls. Expiry dates ensure the product is used within its safe lifespan, and storage conditions guide proper handling to maintain efficacy. Manufacturer details, including the regulatory license number, provide transparency about the origin and legitimacy of the product. All these measures and detailed labeling work together to safeguard patients and uphold the integrity of the supply chain, reinforcing the overarching goal of our presentation: ensuring safety, compliance, and trust in pharmaceutical products. Let's talk about the importance of regulatory focus in our operations. First, maintaining product integrity is crucial. It's about ensuring our products are safe, effective, and unaltered throughout the entire supply chain. Next, we need to prevent mix-ups and contamination, which can compromise quality and patient safety. Protecting our products from theft and falsification is also vital. It helps safeguard both our reputation and the trust of those we serve. Now, when we look at good distribution practices, or GDP, we see a set of principles that guide us in maintaining high standards. The WHO GDP principles emphasize a strong quality management system, or QMS, which is the backbone of consistent quality. Training personnel properly is equally important. Well-trained staff are our first line of defense against errors. Documentation control ensures we keep accurate records, enabling traceability and accountability at every step. Self-inspection is another key element. Regularly reviewing our processes helps us identify and correct issues proactively. And finally, risk management is about anticipating potential problems and implementing measures to mitigate them before they happen. All these elements tie back to our overall goal: to deliver safe, high-quality products reliably. By adhering to these principles, we're not just complying with regulations, we're fostering a culture of excellence and responsibility in our operations. Let's take a closer look at the key requirements for maintaining a safe and compliant storage environment. First, environmental controls are crucial. Monitoring temperature is essential, and we typically keep it within 2 to 8 degrees Celsius for cold chain products, or 15 to 25 degrees for ambient conditions, depending on what's needed. Humidity control is also important because fluctuations can affect product stability. Regular calibration of monitoring devices ensures that our readings are accurate and reliable, which is vital for maintaining product integrity. Moving on to storage and warehouse regulatory requirements, proper warehouse controls help us stay compliant. Segregation is fundamental. This means separating quarantine items, approved stock, and rejected products to prevent mix-ups. The FEFO principle, or first expiry first out, ensures that products are used in the correct order, reducing waste and maintaining quality. Pest control measures must be in place to prevent contamination, and robust security systems protect our inventory from theft or tampering. Now, focusing on cold chain products specifically, continuous temperature logging is a must. This means keeping an ongoing record of temperature data to verify that conditions remain within acceptable limits throughout the storage and transportation process. Alarm systems are critical. They alert us immediately if there's a temperature deviation, allowing for quick corrective actions. Lastly, backup power supplies are essential to ensure that refrigeration units and monitoring systems keep functioning even during power outages, safeguarding the integrity of our cold chain. All of these requirements tie back to the core goal of ensuring that our products remain safe, effective, and compliant from production to final delivery. Now, let's talk about the regulatory requirements that are essential for a smooth and compliant transportation process. First, we need validated transport systems in place. These are systems that have been thoroughly tested and approved to ensure they maintain product quality throughout transit. If temperature control is necessary, we must use temperature-controlled vehicles to keep the products within the specified range. Transport qualification studies are also crucial. They help us verify that the transportation methods and routes are suitable and reliable. A route risk assessment is performed to identify potential risks along the way, allowing us to implement mitigation strategies proactively. Ensuring transportation compliance means adhering to all regulatory standards and guidelines relevant to the shipment. On the documentation side, we need a comprehensive shipping validation report that confirms all validation activities are completed successfully. Temperature data logger records are vital. They provide real-time evidence that temperature conditions were maintained during transit. And of course, the delivery note serves as proof of delivery and receipt. Ultimately, our responsibility is to maintain product integrity until delivery confirmation. This means overseeing every step to ensure the product remains safe, effective, and compliant all the way to the final recipient. Now, let's talk about some of the mandatory controls that are essential for maintaining a compliant and secure supply chain. First, it's crucial that we purchase only from licensed manufacturers. This ensures that the products we handle meet the necessary quality standards and are legally authorized. Next, we supply only to authorized retailers. This helps maintain the integrity of the distribution process and prevents unauthorized access. Maintaining transaction records is another key point. Keeping detailed records of all transactions allows for traceability and accountability. Speaking of traceability, implementing a batch traceability system is vital. It enables us to track each batch throughout its life cycle, which is critical for recalls or quality issues. Now, moving on to distributor and wholesaler regulatory requirements. Licensing is fundamental here. You must hold a valid wholesale drug license to operate legally. Compliance with Good Distribution Practices, or GDP, is also mandatory to ensure the proper handling, storage, and distribution of products. Having a qualified responsible person is essential too. This individual oversees compliance and ensures that all regulatory requirements are met consistently. Lastly, regulatory inspections are an ongoing part of our responsibilities. Authorities conduct periodic audits to verify that we are adhering to all laws and standards, helping us maintain high levels of compliance and safety across the supply chain. Let's talk about the core purpose behind these regulations and systems. First, preventing counterfeit drugs is absolutely critical to ensure patient safety and maintain trust in the healthcare system. Second, enabling effective product recall processes helps us quickly address any safety issues that might arise. And third, improving transparency across the supply chain allows all stakeholders to have clear and accurate information, which is vital for safety and compliance. Now, to support these goals, various regulatory frameworks have been established. For example, in the United States, we have the DSCSA, which sets standards for drug verification and traceability. The European Union has implemented the Falsified Medicines Directive, or FMD, which focuses on preventing fake medicines from reaching patients. India has introduced the DAVA portal, specifically for export controls, adding another layer of oversight. These frameworks rely on serialization and track-and-trace systems. Serialization involves assigning unique identifiers to each product, making it easier to verify authenticity. Track and trace systems enable us to follow a product's journey through the supply chain, from manufacturer to patient. To make all of this work effectively, there are specific data requirements. For instance, the Global Trade Item Number, or GTIN, helps identify products universally. Serial numbers provide unique identifiers for each package. Batch numbers track production lots, and expiry dates ensure the product's validity and safety. Altogether, these elements form a comprehensive approach to safeguarding medicines, aligning with our broader goal of ensuring patient safety and supply chain integrity. Let's talk about retail pharmacy compliance, which is essential for ensuring safe and effective service. First, there are regulatory requirements we must meet, such as holding a valid retail drug license. This license confirms that we're authorized to operate legally. We also need to have a registered pharmacist supervising the pharmacy operations, as their expertise is crucial for maintaining standards. Proper storage conditions are another key point. Medicines must be stored correctly to preserve their efficacy and safety. Additionally, if we handle scheduled drugs, keeping accurate records of these substances is vital to prevent misuse or theft. Moving on to dispensing controls, verification of prescriptions is fundamental. Always double-check that the prescriptions are legitimate and accurate before dispensing. Maintaining a controlled substances register is another critical control. It helps us track the quantities of these drugs and ensures accountability. Segregating expired products is also important. These should be clearly separated and not dispensed to avoid patient harm. All these points tie back to our overarching goal: delivering safe, compliant, and trustworthy pharmacy services. Following these regulations and controls protects both our patients and our pharmacy. Now, let's turn our attention to regulatory requirements that are critical for ensuring product safety and compliance. First, we have the recall SOP, which is the standard operating procedure that guides how we manage recalls efficiently and effectively. This document ensures everyone knows their roles and responsibilities during a recall process. Next is the Rapid Communication System, a vital tool for quick dissemination of information both internally and externally, especially when urgent action is needed. Effectiveness checks are also essential. These are the measures we put in place to verify that our recall actions are successful and that the product has been removed or corrected from the market. Recall reporting to authority is another key aspect. It's mandatory to inform regulatory bodies promptly about any recalls, maintaining transparency and accountability. Alongside this, product recall and pharmacovigilance are interconnected practices that help us monitor and safeguard public health. Moving on to the types of recalls, we categorize them based on risk. Class I recalls involve a serious risk, meaning the product could cause harm or death. Class II recalls are for temporary risks or reversible problems, while Class III are minor defects that don't pose a significant health threat but still require correction. Finally, pharmacovigilance is a cornerstone of drug safety. It includes adverse drug reaction, or ADR, reporting, which involves documenting any negative reactions patients experience. We also prepare periodic safety update reports, or PSURs. These are comprehensive summaries of the safety data collected over a certain period, helping us and regulators assess the ongoing safety profile of our products. All of these elements together form a robust framework to ensure that we not only comply with regulations, but also prioritize patient safety above all. Now, let's look at some of the key mitigation measures we can implement to address these risks. First, we have risk assessment, guided by ICH Q9 principles, which helps us systematically identify and evaluate potential risks in our supply chain. Next is vendor qualification, ensuring that our suppliers meet strict quality and compliance standards before we engage with them. Internal audits are also crucial. They allow us to regularly review our processes and enforce continuous improvement. Digital supply chain systems play a vital role too, providing real-time tracking and data visibility to quickly detect issues. Overall, effective risk management in the supply chain ties all these measures together, helping us proactively address vulnerabilities. Now, turning to the major risks we face, the first is temperature excursion, which can compromise product integrity if not properly controlled. Counterfeit products pose a serious threat to safety and efficacy, so we need robust authentication measures. Theft and diversion are risks that could lead to loss or misuse of products, highlighting the importance of secure storage and transport. Documentation errors can cause regulatory issues and delays, so meticulous record-keeping is essential. Lastly, regulatory noncompliance can result in penalties and damage to our reputation, reinforcing the need for strict adherence to all relevant guidelines. By understanding these risks and implementing targeted mitigation measures, we strengthen the resilience and integrity of our supply chain, ensuring we deliver safe, high-quality products to our customers. So, in conclusion, effective pharmaceutical supply management is absolutely essential to ensure several critical outcomes. First, it guarantees product quality and safety, meaning that patients receive medicines that are both effective and safe to use. Next, it helps us stay compliant with regulatory requirements, which is vital to maintain trust and avoid legal issues. It also plays a key role in protecting patients, making sure they're not exposed to substandard or counterfeit products. Additionally, good supply management provides traceability and transparency, so we can track every step of the supply chain, which is crucial during audits or investigations. And of course, a well-managed supply chain allows for rapid recall capabilities, enabling us to quickly withdraw any affected products if necessary, minimizing potential harm. The most important takeaway here is that regulatory compliance isn't a one-time check. It must be maintained at every stage, from the manufacturing site all the way to the final retail point. That's the foundation for ensuring safety, quality, and trust in the pharmaceutical supply chain. For further support, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're here to help you with any questions or additional guidance you might need. You can contact us through the provided channels, and we'll be happy to assist you. Thank you so much for your time and attention today. We truly appreciate your interest and engagement. Remember, we're committed to supporting you beyond this presentation, so feel free to get in touch whenever you need. Thank you again, and have a great day.